Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Today, we're going to talk all about jelly babies. Now, if you don't know what a jelly baby is, it's a type of soft sugar jelly sweet in the shape of a plump baby. That's right, it's little sweets that look like little babies. And of course, as you can imagine, they're not exactly politically correct these days. This idea of eating something shaped like a baby. They're sold in a variety of colors, and they were first manufactured in the 19th century. But their popularity waned. That means just went down. To wane is when something drops, WANED, before being revived by a company called Bassett's. Bassett's Jelly Babies are known by their advertisements. And also, if you go into any sweet shop here in the UK or supermarkets, you will see Bassett's Jelly Babies. I think also Haribo make Jelly Babies now as well, although their Jelly Babies are smaller. The sweets were invented in 1864 by an Austrian immigrant who was working in a company here, and they were originally marketed as unclaimed babies. That just gets worse, doesn't it? So what do you do with unclaimed babies? You eat them. And then in 1918, they became peace babies to mark the end of World War One. And Bassett's had them by that point. And after World War II, they were suspended, of course, because during the war, as many people have forgotten, many companies didn't function, because the men who worked in these factories were all sent to war. And then they came back in 1953 as Jelly Babies. They're all different colors. You have red, yellow, pink, green, purple, and orange. And I think they've taken away the black ones now because, of course, they were politically incorrect as well. But they were delicious. They're all different flavors. I think, if I remember correctly, the red one was strawberry, the yellow one was lemon, the pink was raspberry, the green was lime, and the purple blackcurrant, and the I don't know what the orange one was, probably just orange, but delicious, really delicious. So if you have the chance to find Jelly Babies, do look for them because it looks like they might be disappearing. The government has issued a directive that sweets are bad for us. Do you know, I'm glad I'm getting older. I had the chance to taste all these delicious sweets before they disappear. So the government said that sweets with too much sugar should definitely restrict the sugar content or else just simply stop selling them. Jelly Babies are perhaps our sweetest sweet that you can possibly find. And they are delicious. Did I mention that they're really delicious? Wow. Let me tell you that they're also very famous in our culture. For example, in October 1963, when Beatlemania was around, that's when people were going crazy about the Beatles, a group of people pelted the band. That just means that they threw Jelly Babies at the band. They pelted them, Pelted, with Jelly Babies. After it was reported that George Harrison liked to eat them. In the United States, they have something similar called jelly beans, but they're much harder, but it's kind of the same idea. And they are kind of eccentrically British It's, in Britain we have a few eccentricities, things which make us just bizarre. And one of those things, of course, is our TV show Doctor Who. Now, I don't know if you know Doctor Who. I'll come and explain what that is in a second. But jelly babies were often mentioned in this series as a favorite sweet of the Doctor. Doctor Who basically is an alien time traveler in a British sci-fi TV show. Jelly babies were first seen being consumed by the second Doctor, but they became more associated with Tom Baker. He was the fourth Doctor eating jelly babies. Yeah, he he used to eat them all the time. He would offer them to aliens and strangers and things like that. I think the Master, that's the Doctor's evil enemy, encountered Doctor Who with jelly babies quite a few times as well. Because I remember in one episode of Doctor Who, the Doctor had this bag of jelly babies, and the Master, he's like the evil nemesis of the Doctor, thought that they were a weapon of some kind. And it sparked an argument. But of course, it was only a bag of jelly babies. Oh, by the way, speaking about the Master in Doctor Who, I had a friend who knew someone who decorated the Master's house. Yeah, isn't that strange? Yeah, I remember him telling me that every time he went to the Master's house, that the actor looked exactly the same as the evil man in Doctor Who. So while he was decorating the Master's house, it was very strange. He felt very afraid because, of course, he was remembering the man as an alien. Anyway, let me explain what Doctor Who is as we move away from jelly babies. So, Doctor Who is a British TV show. It's a science fiction TV show, and the Doctor travels around in a little telephone box because in the 60s and 70s, we had telephone boxes, those red boxes you can see in Leicester Square. They've mostly all gone now. They're only for tourists, the few that remain in central London. But we had another type of telephone box as well, which was blue. If you had to call the police urgently, you could step inside it. It was very much an iconic box. There's still a few of those around as well for tourists in central London. But in Doctor Who, this was his spaceship. He used to travel around in this little blue police box, which in the inside was much, much bigger than the outside. It was like an illusion. And his spaceship was called the TARDIS, which was an acronym for time and relative dimensions in space. Doctor Who was an amazing TV show. It ran from 1962, 63, I think, maybe a bit later, all the way up to the 1990s. Then they stopped making it, and then about 10 years ago, they brought it back. Oh, it's very famous. There's Doctor Who appreciation societies. We have Doctor Who museums across the UK. The Doctor always had an assistant as well. They became very famous in popular culture. The thing about the Doctor is that as each actor got tired of the role and left, they had this thing called regeneration, where the Doctor would fall asleep and regenerate himself and appear with a different face, a different actor. And each Doctor had his own identity or his own style. So everyone here in popular culture talks about their favorite Doctor, depending on their age. And it's also a good way to find out someone's age, because if you don't want to ask someone, how old are you? That would be quite rude in British culture. You can talk about Doctor Who and say, what doctor do you remember? And if they say, oh, Tom Baker, you can say, ah, I know how old you are, because Tom Baker was the doctor in the 1970s. And you say you were a child then, so you must be at least 50 now. So you can use this as a way to determine people's ages. Doctor Who started off as a really innocent kind of show which looked like it wasn't going anywhere. But the best doctors, in my opinion, Jon Pertwee, he's the one who came to Earth to work for the British government, and Tom Baker, and they had typically 80s assistants. I think Tom Baker's assistant was a woman dressed as an air hostess, or was that Peter Davidson? Oh, I don't know. I get them all mixed up, but well worth watching. Since they brought it back, it's been very political. I mean, the acting is still terrible. The aliens are particularly awful. His main alien was the Master. Sorry, I mean his main enemy was the Master, not his main alien. His main enemy was the Master, and there was another one as well called the Dalek. The Dalek was this machine, a whole race of machines actually, which tried to stop the Doctor moving and going to different places. Very interesting, these Daleks, because their one main weakness was that they couldn't get upstairs. So it was kind of easy to run away from them. All you had to do was to find some stairs and go to a higher level. But really trashy, I mean, awful. And Doctor Who these days, well, it's kind of political, and the Doctor isn't quite the same. I think they introduced a female Doctor for the first time in, I think, last year or the year before, and then I think they introduced one who was lesbian as well. But the computer effects make the aliens a little bit more scary. But if you like really trashy acting, sci-fi TV from Britain, I think you would enjoy Doctor Who. So if you don't know it, go for the episode with Jon Pertwee. I think he was the third Doctor, I think, or Tom Baker. Jon Pertwee or Tom Baker. They're two very well-seasoned classical actors here in the UK. I think Jon Pertwee's dead now. Tom Baker's still around. He must be getting on in years. So those are my two favourite Doctors, because they're both eccentrically British, you know. Jon Pertwee with his classic British car, which he used to keep to drive around in. Tom Pertwee with his long scarf and jelly babies. Yeah, a little bit, well, just British is the way that I remember them. So anyway, getting back to jelly babies, very much part of our culture. We've even had the Jelly Baby song. I think there's other TV shows as well that they've appeared in. Apparently, out of 4,000 adults who were asked, what's your favorite snack? Overwhelmingly, they chose Jelly Babies. And they were also the favorite snack of the British puppet Basil Brush. I don't know if you know him. He was a puppet, a comedy puppet that you can find on YouTube. His catchphrase was to laugh, ha ha ha, and then say boom boom. Well, it was the 70s, I mean. Also, I think Basil Brush, he made references to Jelly Babies many times. I don't know if Bond had Jelly Babies, but certainly some of our other people did. Well, that's it from me. I've spoken too much about Jelly Babies. Look at the time. So I'm going to go. Catch you all soon. See you. Bye.